Howdy, howdy, ho. Welcome to the Brinx Truck and Hearse podcast. My name is Ryan McNeill.
I'm Michael Frieri.
And here we are in living color, in the flesh. We are here to bring you another great podcast episode. Mikey, how you doing today?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm pretty excited. Our first time as a Brinx Truck and Hearse podcast on camera and beautiful studio.
In the beautiful studios here in the Martiri building at Sacred Heart University.
That's right.
Yes.
Blessings.
Blessings. Now, one thing that is not a blessing, and I think we agree on this, has been The Mandalorian Season 3.
Yes, I haven't seen, what is this, episode 4 or 5 now? But
I believe the 5th episode neither of us have seen. It just came out yesterday. But let me ask you first, what did you think of the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian?
Oh, the first 2 seasons, I think it was about a fresh breath of air that you can get, you know? It brought new engaging content, a really exciting new formula to the studio or franchise, and it was something new that they fucking nailed it. So that's all I could ask for.
And I agree. Love the first 2 seasons. And I think when both of us felt that after season 2 ended, we weren't sure where they were going to go with it.
No.
And I remember asking you, how much more do you want them to do? And we also both agreed, I'd be okay if they ended it right now. Honestly, at the end of season 2, it wasn't this super satisfying ending, but it all wrapped up in a shape or form that we were happy with.
Yes.
And now going into season 3, what were your expectations going into season 3?
Well, I think it's worth noting about Boba Fett, because obviously that had a big turn on it. And so after the end of season 2 and not knowing what Boba Fett's going to bring, I had the expectations of just like a new story. Like this story ended with him and Grogu, and just a new story with the Mandalorian if they want to keep it going, because I would be behind it because he's a great character and he's super interesting.
Yeah, that dynamic doesn't make the show great. Just him himself is enough to suffice a great show.
Yeah, they can delve into a lot of stuff. And but once Boba Fett hits, and we're seeing Grogu stuff and Mandalorian stuff, which I don't think anyone really asked for.
Yeah, and nobody was like thrilled and super happy with Boba Fett. But still, nobody went into Boba Fett saying, well, there better be some Mandalorian stuff
Yes,
in here.
Exactly.
No, it was caught everybody completely off guard.
It was a great surprise, because if you remember, I stopped watching Boba Fett, I think maybe like 2 episodes in.
I don't really blame you.
And you were still watching, and you're like, Mando showed up. I was like, and you go, Boba Fett wasn't in it at all. Yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch it.
There were like 2 full episodes. I think Boba Fett had 1 scene.
Yeah.
It was literally just Mandalorian. And we were happy that we got some good Mandalorian content in a show neither of us were crazy about.
And honestly, some of the best Mandalorian content that they've done.
It was really solid. But I will say that when Din Djarin and Grogu part ways, that was like a really big deal.
Of course.
And for them to just reunite kind of quickly during the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes, it was very unceremonious.
Yeah, and it felt kind of cheap, and a lot of the great emotional moments that you could have got with how long they are apart and an eventual reunion gets really cut short, that the next time we see them, they're just back together again.
Yes. I mean, because say like someone is just watching The Mandalorian, they had no interest in Boba Fett whatsoever. They just really like The Mandalorian because it's whatever. And then season 2, they're like, oh my God, they're just split up, and they don't watch any bit of Boba Fett, and then like,
which I bet a good amount of people are in that camp.
Yeah, and they're like, what the hell just happened? Like, how can you? It's just weird because they conclude, or they have like a pretty like blatant ending.
Grogu's story was done.
Yes, to season 2, and then not even in the next season do they resolve or bring back Grogu, but they do it elsewhere, and then just like, okay. Season 3, he's back. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah. And both of us have said this before, where now Grogu's presence just feels kind of strange because he's not part of the story. And he's just there.
It's highly unnecessary. I mean, I clearly understand what they're doing because I'm sure he's their biggest merchandise seller.
Yeah.
As of right now.
Yeah.
So I understand what they're doing, but I think they could have taken different directions.
There were a lot of different things they could have done where, I mean, season 3, we'll get into season 3, like what we think of it. But it could have been like Mando has to live without Grogu. He has developed this whole personality about who he is with Grogu because he changed so much, and now he has to change again because he doesn't have him anymore.
Yeah.
And that in a whole season just on that could have been very interesting.
Yeah.
And you don't need to keep them completely separate. You could have cut between Grogu and Luke and Mando on his own journeys.
Yes.
And they intersect.
Yes, that would be great.
And they could have intersected in the finale. And then it would have been a full, 2 years in between when they split up and when they get back together.
Yeah.
Instead, the season arrives, and it's like, oh, yeah, they're already back together because of what happened to Boba Fett. And Boba Fett was like 6 months after they split up or whatever it was. So it all felt so rushed, and they missed out on a lot of great moments, I think, because of it.
Yeah, I agree. I have to say your idea of, like, you can have a Mandalorian season with the both of them side by side, because clearly Grogu would have been pretty damn occupied, and it would have had some great content. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much of CGI Luke you can do.
You can do plenty of Ahsoka Tano.
Yes, that's a good point. But it was too rushed because I guess like the fan base wasn't mad that they got separated.
That too. Everybody understood.
It was
why
supposed to happen.
A lot of people were happy that Grogu's going on to do other things. He's no longer in danger in the line of fire where he always is with the Mandalorian anymore.
Yeah,
it made sense that he was going to go train with Luke.
And now I think because I think they kind of dug themselves in a hole because of Grogu's species and how slowly he ages. Yes. Right now in The Mandalorian, he's going to serve really no purpose except for cooing.
Yeah.
And people going on,
Yeah.
So nothing you can do.
I believe Yoda was 900 years old.
Yeah.
So Grogu is what? It's going to be another century before he learns to verbally speak, more or less.
Well, he knows how to shoot paintballs and flip over children, so...
Okay. It's time.
Any day now.
It's time. Words. It's time. Let's get into Season 3.
Hold on.
Oh, you have one more point?
Well, this is good to go into Season 3. Okay, go. But I think at the end of Season 3, Grogu's going to say his first word.
Ooh. That's a spicy prediction.
I think it could happen, but...
What do you predict the word will be?
Probably dad or something.
Dad. It'd be cool if he said Jedi.
And then
Mando's doubting. He's like, he doesn't want to be a Mandalorian. He wants to be a Jedi.
You know what would be so funny? If he goes, this is the way.
I would officially stop watching the show. I would cancel my Disney Plus subscription.
And then so he's gonna say his last word, and then Disney's gonna go crazy with buying producing Grogu toys where you squeeze it, he'll say, this is the way. I think that's a pretty good did one of the lights go off?
Oh, they may have.
That's
fine. All right. So Season 3.
Yes.
Now, what have you thought about these first 4 episodes or so?
It has been, and I think I think really highly of the Mandalorian series. I think I was telling you this is the best thing they've done since the originals, I think.
Yeah.
Which is pretty highly speaking.
You love it. You love it. I enjoy quite a bit. Not as much as you, but you love the show.
Yes, but Season 3 is really falling flat with me.
I think it's an understatement.
Yes, it's an understatement. It's a huge disappointment.
Yeah, I agree. And I believe when the first trailer came out, I don't know if I even watched the trailer, but all the ads and everything I heard about it, it was very unclear where they're going with this.
Yeah.
I was unsure how far this was going to go and just in any direction, because I knew kind of felt like, there's going to be some kind of Mandalorian civil war at some point. Him and Bo-Katan are going to clash at some point during this season, and I still think it's going to happen. The finale is going to end in a big punch-up, and I bet there will be a couple good episodes in this show. But these first few have been so boring. And it's the one thing I wouldn't think I'd say of the show. Even in the past, the show is not one big overarching story. It's been very good at being episodic. Really good standalone story, really good standalone story that begins and ends, especially in the first season. Mm-hmm. This season, the stories have just been bad. So you have no excuse when there isn't an overarching story.
Yeah.
He's just been running errands for the first few episodes.
I think we were talking about this. The first episode, he's he might as well be looking at a grocery list and be okay, and checking it off. And he goes to one planet, says, he'll have a 5-minute conversation and be go here. So then they'll fucking fly a whole other galaxy or whatever. And they'll go here, go there. He's gonna bring IG-88 back for no reason. Oh, that was so stupid.
Then there was Yeah, and exactly. There's like 3 different times he goes to places to like, he's like, I have to do something. And they're like, yeah, you can't. He's like, all right, I'll go home now. And then he just leaves. And whenever there is action, I don't care because I don't care about his mission. He has to bathe in the mines of Mandalore because he took his helmet off. Who gives a shit?
He's got to climb a wall to
fight a dragon. To fight the dragon, yeah. And where was Grogu that episode? He was just back at base camp because he serves no purpose anymore.
Yeah.
He had that flashback, which was kind of neat, but still.
That was the only good thing of that episode.
I'm guessing there will be more of those flashbacks.
I think there is from the next episode.
I would think. And I did hear some rumors of people saying that maybe that could be a cool series of when Grogu was escaped, how they saved Grogu. But
make that into a whole series?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know about that.
I mean, I do have I told you my idea for what you can do with Grogu, but we don't need to get into that right now.
No, pitch it.
You sure? You don't want to talk? You don't want to keep talking about season 3?
Nah, it connects. It's a big time jump, right?
All right.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to save it because it kind of ties into my issue with the state of Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
I'll save it.
Okay. But so far in season 3, though, we've had one episode that had nothing to do with Mandalorian stuff.
Yes.
And it wasn't that like, oh, it's not connected, I hate it. It was just boring. Mm-hmm. I didn't care about this guy and this post-Empire politics. And I mean, I barely finished the thing. I don't think you finished it.
Oh, no, I walked away. I was just like, tell me how it goes.
Yeah, and I could barely tell you how I went because I was so disengaged in the show.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how they're going to move forward because they haven't gone anywhere with it so far. Mm-hmm. And I like the characters I love too. Like Carl Weathers' character has been in for 5 minutes. He shoots a man dead in the street, which is a bad look for a mayor, I felt.
What do you think if Carl Weathers, instead of this character, what do you think they just had Space Apollo Creed?
I mean, I would love a Space Apollo Creed, honestly. Rocking the shorts?
That would have been pretty cool.
Has anyone ever worn shorts in Star Wars? I don't think so. These are the hard-hitting questions we get.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So what do you want out of these last few episodes of season 3? What do you say?
Listen, I think wait, how many episodes are there?
I think there's only 3.
3.
After this 5th one, we haven't seen the 5th one.
3 more episodes.
So 4 you haven't seen. We haven't seen. But still.
They gotta get going. But I think the first episode set it up well enough. Obviously, it was a super boring episode, but it set up what's to come.
It was entirely set up.
But it set up a lot of things, and I don't think they can do all that in this 4-episode span. But they need. I don't know, because it's kind of hard because there's such a little to go that they haven't really started building up like this Civil War type thing, if that's even happening.
Yeah, because I thought it was going to be like a lot of conflict, but now, as of right now in the show, they're like palling around. Like everyone seems to be on the same page. Mm-hmm. And if the conflict is over the way, I don't care what the way is. He says this is the way 7 times an episode still. I understand what the way is, but I don't care about Mandalorian creeds. And I don't understand. I wouldn't watch them fight over it either.
Yeah. Even if say this episode that we're not watching, that we haven't watched yet, they have started the conflict.
Yeah.
Even if they did just start the conflict, it's not enough time.
Because what would prompt it? I don't know. Who's he fighting? The Mandalorian with the mask and the fur on? I don't care. I don't know her name.
Dude, I hate that character. She pisses me off so much.
I hate all the Mandalorians that aren't Din Djarin.
Yeah, that's true.
And they also need to realize when they have like a group of them, like Din Djarin's armor looks cool. They spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
You can't just take any like colors and people of any size and put them in the armor and have it look cool. Because a lot of when it's like lime green, it looks stupid. Especially, I think the worst scene. Would you agree the worst scene of the season was the paintball scene?
Oh, without a doubt. It makes me realize that like that's when I started to realize that Baby Yoda just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
He's
still cute. He's still there, but
because he
has to be part of the journey.
You can see they're trying to move along his ability with but he's still a baby puppet. Like it's ridiculous having him jump around like that or doing whatever. I'm telling you, they dug themselves a hole with this.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're going to get out of it. Hire me, maybe I could help you, but
That leads us into our next point.
Yes.
The current state of Star Wars, which a lot of people have a lot of different feelings about. I don't think anybody feels great about it, even if you're a big Mandalorian fan.
Yeah.
Now, tell me your idea. Well, your biggest issue with the current state of Star Wars. I'm going to look up the slate.
Okay, so let's look up the slate. My slate will prove my point as well. But my biggest issue is the fact that, yes, we got the sequel trilogy, but they still don't. That's only three things, three movies that move the bill forward, the story forward. Everything else, there's so much that just focuses on filling in gaps filling in gaps of the past that I do not quite really care about. And it's just why. I like The Mandalorian because it's kind of it was a cool little filler, but now everything, it's everything. It's literally everything. I mean, you had the original trilogy, which obviously told the whole story, new story of Star Wars. Then they went back with the prequels, which, it was a pretty necessary story to be told. But then after that, what did they have? They had the Clone Wars, which is in between 2 and 3, episodes 2 and 3. Then they finally start to do the sequels.
But then Rogue
One, which went before the original.
Rogue One, Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
Rebels.
Well, that was great. Rebels. Solo.
Solo, yeah. Even if you like Obi-Wan, it still falls into this issue you kind of have with it.
But you see the point I'm saying.
Yeah. You want them to go past Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
You want to not know what's coming in the universe.
Not even you could do it in like a similar timeline as the sequels or the originals. Just disconnect it from the whole saga. Really, you can do that. You can tell a whole new story.
You could tell a story and just not say when it takes place.
Very good point. But I don't think they're going to be that.
No, I don't think they'd ever do that because people are too sophisticated on the canon. One thing I would always like to see, because you want them to go further. In A Phantom Menace, when Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan says something about the Sith to Mace Windu, Mace Windu says, "Oh, the Sith have been extinct for 1,000 generations." I want to see that. When was the last time the Sith were around? But before this, 1,000 generations.
Isn't that the Acolyte?
Oh, is that what that's going to be?
I think that's the Acolyte.
Oh, okay.
That's
be
something that I'm interested in.
Then I'm interested in that. I didn't even know that's what this was about. All right, yeah. Let's run through the slate now.
Okay.
And ever since Rise of Skywalker, they've made Mandalorian, which fairly well received, but yes, an in-betweener. Obi-Wan, fairly well received, but an in-betweener. And then a lot of stuff, obviously adults can enjoy it, but stuff geared towards children.
Yes, which, I understand.
Yeah, but for a franchise like Star Wars, being owned by Disney, they haven't made a lot of, big blockbuster stuff, honestly.
That's what I'm saying.
Because they did the original trilogy, the sequel trilogy, a 5 movies in a 4-year span, whatever it was, and then it's been dry. So let's look at what they got coming up. Star Wars Visions Volume 2. I don't think anybody cares.
Don't.
Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures animated series.
For the children. For the
children. The Ahsoka show.
Could be interesting.
We'll get more CGI Luke.
Do we need it, though?
I don't need it.
I don't need
I like the character fine, but
yeah,
I'm not in love.
In fact, I like the character fine. And
the live action translation was wonderful, I felt.
Yes. Rosario Dawson does a great job. But I won't. I'm not going to knock that one too much. I'm excited for that one.
Okay. Skeleton Crew. I have a vague idea what's about. I think it's a Clone Wars thing.
I can't stand it.
Anyway, it's a show, though.
It's a Clone Wars series stuff. There's no movies.
Very few movies. There are some coming up.
Oh.
Andor Season 2.
I don't care.
Neither do I. Acolyte. Could be good.
I
know very little about it, though. Lando TV show. We also know very, very little about this one. I don't know if this one's ever going to happen. Because it's unsure whether Donald Glover is going to come back or not.
If Donald Glover does come back, it could be good.
It could be good. I agree with that. Now, Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie.
Oh.
This could be great or this could be horrible.
Oh. When was this announced?
A while ago.
2025 release?
Yeah, they announced this one a while ago.
It's just a movie.
It's a movie. As far as we know right now, he's making one movie. We don't know anything about it, but he's making one movie.
I'm a little interested to see what it could be.
I'm interested too.
But you're right. It could be good or it could be not good.
Because he's also somebody who doesn't fit into like the Star Wars director mold.
No.
Because he's very creative, obviously.
Yeah.
And he's going to try and want to do different things that have never been done in Star Wars before.
Yeah.
So I'll admire that. He's
going to piss the fan base off.
Yes. Which I enjoyed when Rian Johnson did it because I really like Last Jedi.
So do I.
When did you come around on Last Jedi?
Freshman year when we had a conversation about. Do you remember this conversation?
I do remember this conversation. This is why I brought it up.
Oh, you're just, we were talking about it, and I was like, if somehow it got brought up, and you said you liked it, and I go, I think I said I hated it at the time, but then you gave your qualms, or not qualms, your supporting arguments.
Mm-hmm. And I did still have qualms with it. There was things I understood why people didn't like about it.
But I think, looking at your point of view, I agree. I do now agree. As its own movie, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Not in the trilogy.
Yes, I agree with that. The trilogy is very disjointed, but I can watch each of those movies and have a good time. I can't say that about the prequels.
I can watch prequels and have a good time.
I can't.
Because I grew up on that stuff.
I still have nostalgia for them, yes. Yeah. But I'm not having fun when I watch them, though, in all honesty.
I have to say I have a guilty pleasure for Phantom Menace.
There are parts of Phantom Menace I like. Phantom Menace feels like the most like a movie because there's actual like sets. Not everything is green screen like in the next two.
Yeah, I'm not huge on 2, but 3 is pretty good.
3's got
a little definitely overhyped, but it's good.
Overhyped, and it's very long, and it's very kind of full of itself. But
yeah.
Anyway, Taika Waititi is going to probably piss off the fan base one way or another, like Rian Johnson did. That to me even makes this movie. They've hired and parted ways with so many directors. Like Lord and Miller were going to do Solo, and then they got canned, basically. Patty Jenkins was going to make a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
He went. Colin Trevorrow was originally doing Episode 9, and he got tanked. What was his name? Damon Lindelof or David Lindelof, whatever it is. One of the guys who did Lost. He just got fired like last week. They lose more directors than they make movies.
What are they trying to do?
I don't know. They like agree to terms with all these directors that are going to make movies, not just like, they're going to work on a TV show. And then they either get canned and get replaced, or the projects just completely go away. It's a mess. It's a complete mess over there. But then there's, this says Star Wars Rogue Squadron movie, and then in parentheses, canceled. So I guess we can mark that one off the list. The Damon Lindelof thing, he just got fired, so I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Book of Boba Fett Season 2, it says status unknown. I don't know if anybody really cares. They would need a big pull. They would need to really say, look at Cad Bane, Mace Windu's back, something to make people care about this.
Or just say fucking Mando's in it again.
People might be Mando'd out after Season 3 of this, honestly.
I don't think people don't have the same opinion as we do on.
I think it's getting a lukewarm reception.
Yeah.
But there are people in our camp who hate it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's Kevin Feige's Star Wars movie, parentheses canceled. And then untitled J.D. Dillard, Matt Owens movie, status unknown. I know neither of those individuals.
I'll say this. I give Star Wars credit, okay? Because in a post, I'm gonna throw out this term, a post-Endgame world, film world. A big studio like Star Wars would really look to capitalize, which they are with all the shows and Disney Plus and the Marvel Disney Plus shows. They would look to capitalize and have like a big franchise of movies, but they look to be at least biting their, just holding back a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I give them credit for. Whether that's a good sign or a bad sign, I don't know. But that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. And so the last two things on the slate as of right now, this is the last two things, and I don't think either of these things are getting made. Everything else, there's nothing we're excited for either, except the Acolyte a little bit. A wee bit. Benioff and Wise, who are the Game of Thrones guys.
Yes.
We're going to make a Star Wars movie.
Yes, I heard about this.
And then they got fired.
Oh, yes, I also heard about this.
And they announced this before Last Jedi.
I think they announced this when Game of Thrones was ending.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I think Last Jedi was probably out by then. Yeah, it was.
So this next one happened before Last Jedi, and I don't think it's ever going to happen. They say it's going to happen. There are still people who believe it's going to happen. Rian Johnson said he was making a Star Wars trilogy with completely new characters, completely new everything. I don't think they will let him, considering the poor reception Last Jedi got.
You know, I agree, but this is why I think they should let him.
I agree too. I think he's made the best Star Wars movie outside of the original trilogy.
Okay. I think the big issue with the original trilogy was the fact that they had, even though Rian Johnson did a good job on The Last Jedi, they needed to have one director.
Yeah.
Just to
or at least have an outline that the director had to adhere to. Because apparently J.J. Abrams, when he did 7, wrote outlines for 8 and 9.
And Rian Johnson
he threw them out.
You know, yeah. I mean, I'm supporting Rian Johnson. I'm supporting The Last Jedi, but that's kind of a dick movie,
yeah.
You know,
I'm happy.
Kind of fucks it up.
I like Last Jedi, but still, it's like
you can't tell a cohesive story if there's two different ideas.
Yeah. And like, I'm mad at Johnson for doing that. I'm more mad at Disney for letting him do it. They should have said, "No, you're gonna stick to what we have as a cohesive trilogy, or we're gonna get somebody else."
Yeah,
because there's a line around the block of guys who would take his spot.
If I'm being honest, too, even though I think either have it be Johnson or be Abrams to do the entire sequel trilogy.
I would have been fine if Abrams did all 3.
But I would say I think Johnson would do a much better job
with all 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, because like I said, like each movie. Well, you got 7. That's like sets up the sequel, but not really because it's kind of just a retelling of the original.
Yeah, I understand people. It's too similar, and I know you're one of those.
Yeah, Last Jedi kind of looked at that, said this is way too similar. Let's scrap some things. So it kind of like tried to fix what Force Awakens had. I keep forgetting the name of that movie. I don't know why. And then 9 says 8 sucks. Everyone hated 8. Yeah. I got to fix all these problems. Yeah. And then like
that's why when people like trashed on 9 a lot, I was like, they were kind of in an untenable situation where the fact I watched a movie that I could still enjoy, like they did a good enough job with what they were handed.
Yes. But I do remember the Rian Johnson trilogy being mentioned, and I was actually looking forward to that, but I don't think
I'm excited for it. Do you think it's going to happen, though?
No.
Neither do I.
No. I actually do remember it was announced before The Last Jedi. You were right. Because I remember going into it and seeing when like the kid grabs the broom, I was like, "Oh, that's probably gonna be the new trilogy."
Oh, that could be. Actually,
so it was like rumors floating around.
So how do you feel about the state of Star Wars as your closing thoughts here?
I think they're trying so hard to be Marvel that it's really not landing, and I don't think they need to be Marvel. They can they were there. They were successful They were successful movie franchises before. They were a successful movie franchise before Marvel was. Yeah. They could have just, done what they did best. Make cool sci-fi movies. They gotta, I know the sequels didn't end too long ago, but they gotta move the script forward a little more. That's my biggest problem. They gotta move the script forward.
I agree. And that's why I am excited for the Rian Johnson, Taika Waititi stuff. Not necessarily because I am super confident in them to like, I love all their work, but I know it's going to be something completely different. Or at least that's what it's pitched as. It's going to be completely different stuff. New batch of characters, wherever it is in the timeline, I don't know. Yeah. I don't care. It's not connected to anything. So they're going to be so focused on just being good.
Let me give my pitch now.
Oh, okay.
This is what I think could be a potentially pretty damn good solution here to my qualms, if you will.
Big words today.
Yes. And that is, so you have an issue with Baby Yoda.
Yes.
You have an issue with not moving the script forward. However, Baby Yoda is this type of species that you can go many years ahead and he'd still be there. Okay? So now let's look at this. Let us take Baby Yoda, Grogu, my apologies, and let's go years, it could be a century, I don't care, ahead.
Oh, you can go 500 years, and he's 30 years old?
Yes. Past the sequels. past the sequels, and he's a functioning being that viewers can watch by himself, and he's that's it. He's doing whatever, and you can have like flashbacks to Mandalorian when he was a little kid or whatever, because he clearly remembers stuff from Order 66. So you can have that. He could have, I don't know. Who knows how like season 3 plays out? Maybe like Grogu does become like a full on Mandalorian. He could be.
Maybe he dies.
Oh, let's hold on. Let's hold off that. He could be like the ruler of Mandalore and have the Darksaber, and because he's a Force sensitive Mandalorian, which is what the Darksaber is for.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. It could be like something like that. Just age Grogu, have him be the main character, the star of movie, show, trilogy, whatever.
And that is a really good solution to fix your problem of let's go past Rise of Skywalker, but still make something people are connected to. There's still a draw for people to come in because it's Baby Yoda, it's Grogu grown up.
I think it's a layup. Disney, you know where to find me.
And with that thought, we love Star Wars, but our confidence is waning, and especially with Mandalorian Season 3. That's one big oof right there.
Yes.
We'll see you next time on the Brinx Truck and Hearse podcast. My name has been Ryan McNeill.
My name is Michael Frieri.
Heidi. Ho.
Woo!